Okay, so let me give you a backstory when I first got my Banshee Prime. To be honest with you guys, Banshee was never on my radar back then, but since some fellow clan members in my past clan said that I should get one to help them level up in Hydron, I decided to buy her Prime with some plat. Back then, we were using Banshee's fourth ability to help everyone level up in Hydron faster. You just place your hands in the ground and kill enemies in every wave. It also pays to be helpful since you get focus points in the process to help you max out all your focus tree faster. That was the time when Eidolons were not present in the game. But I thought that was the only use of Banshee. Well, that is where I'm wrong. She is just more than a focus farming, leveling Warframe. She is the queen of 2 billion damage back then, and because of her sonar ability, with the help of Resonance Augment, she can reach an easy 2 billion damage cap. It's even better when you paired it with Savage Silence and do a finisher build back then with even just using the Skiajati. Finisher builds were super effective back then since we got the double stacking of Arcane Trickery that gives out a high chance of proccing the Arcane's invisibility. In fact, it was so broken that you can just go endless with a Resonance Savage Silence Banshee back then if you just have the Arcane Trickery. The resonance will spread the effect of sonar until a certain time where an enemy's body parts are fully highlighted and you can do 2 billion damage cap finishes on them. But right now, double stacking Arcane Trickery is gone. However, the Savage Silence sonar finisher builds still works, minus the insane invisibility. The focus farming Banshee is gone, and I know that some of you will go ahead in the comments section and answer that the only use of Banshee right now is for the Helminth system. Let the Helminth munch him until she turns into a flower. That way, you can use her Savage Silence on all Warframes to level them up fast in about 2 minutes solo. But how else can you play Banshee Prime right now, knowing the fact that she somehow loses her usefulness when the focus farming method in Hydron is now gone? The sonar support in Index is also gone, as credit farming is now done with Chroma in Prophet Dacre, or just go solo in Index with crazy builds of course. And most of all, Banshee hasn't changed a bit. Digital Extremes made a rework, but it has made her mediocre still to the eyes of many. How can you even be interested in her right now? Okay, lads. Let's stop that. It's Valentine's Day and we are making Banshee cry. She may have lost all of that, but it doesn't mean you can't have some dumb fun with your Banshee Prime right now. She is great at killing Steel Path Acolytes. You can still rely on her in the team plays wherein you want to achieve those 2 billion damage. She can still do finisher setup, and most of all, she is a Warframe both viable for solo and team composition. With the help of some Helminth builds, I'm pretty sure you will still enjoy Banshee Prime right now. Okay, let's talk about finisher builds first. This build will still be viable for Banshee because of the Skiajati and her Savage Silence Augment. Take note that you don't need any subsume ability for this. All you need is her Savage Silence Augment, mod Banshee with Resonance and Savage Silence, then have a minimum of at least 20 meters for both sonar and silence. This way, you don't affect all enemies on the map, but within just a room. Savage Silence will only open up enemies to finisher after a couple of seconds, so it's best that you keep it small to maximize the time allowance, and also so that you would not mess up the enemy flow and kill speed by stun locking those enemies that are in another room. The only thing that is problematic about a finisher build is it's very slow in terms of kill speed, not to mention that it sucks against Steel Path Acolytes. The only way that you can damage Steel Path Acolytes with a finisher build is to have the mecha set and proc the AoE/ if you are using a rapier, or you can subsume Marked for Death on the build, which is also a viable option, but then again, it's not as fast as just whacking enemies with a melee or nuking them with your AoE guns. Honestly, I think you should step away from any finisher builds for your Banshee Prime right now. There are actually 2 fun and reliable builds right now that you can use for this Warframe. One is for endless survivals, or for farming Steel Path Acolytes. And the other one is for team composition and or playing missions that are outside survival runs. So let's talk about the build outside of survival and acolyte hunting. The safest way to make Banshee versatile in almost all missions is with Octavia's Resonator subsume on her. Resonator is a cheat code to all Warframes, as once you dropped it on the ground, all enemy aggression will be turned off, like you are invisible to all enemies around you. I know it's kind of obvious, and it will take no brain to know how obvious is a Resonator Banshee build. All you need is a max range, then the Conductor mod to help keep the ball steady in one place. I like the resonator to be at one place as usually, it moves around trying to lure enemies, and sometimes, the resonator goes too far that the aggro from enemies near Banshee will be broken. This build is good if you really love Banshee and want to take her not just on survival missions, but also mobile defense, interception, or even on defense missions. Just remember that your main source of damage here is your resonance. The ability will let sonar spread into the enemies and all you need to do is take them down with your weapon. Although Resonator seems to be the safest way to build Banshee now, I must admit that it doesn't give me that oh shit that's a cool factor like what the Meta Gloom Banshee can. Probably, all you lot know about this already, but for those new players, let me explain how good a Gloom Banshee is. We all know Gloom has two features, the slow and a lifesteal mechanic. In the hands of Banshee, Gloom's slow mechanic is really cool since it extends the stun lock of Savage Silence. Normally, enemies will take about 3 seconds to recover from silence, then an additional 3 seconds if you have the silence augment, while they are being slowed by Gloom that extends to about 11 to 12 seconds depending on how much percentage you have in your Gloom. The best part is, the sonar ability with the resonance augment will spread efficiently while you are constantly hitting those slowed enemies. Most of the time, enemies' weaknesses are highlighted by the ability that they will just melt like paper when you hit them with any decent weapon. Even acolytes. They get slowed by Gloom, then, all you need is to kill enemies affected by sonar and just be quick to kill the acolytes who are fully highlighted by resonance. Although I only showcase a steel path survival here, and how easy this build can melt enemies even acolytes, you can actually use this build against Kuvalich and Sisters of Parvos. Gloom affects both mini-bosses and the same can be said with Banshee's sonar, making the fight easier as you can melt slowed enemies in seconds. If you put it in perspective, Banshee did not lose her value in today's Warframe, she just shifted from being a team player to someone that can solo missions now, and can even kill bosses in the game. Tomorrow, Banshee Prime Access and Mirage Prime Access will be made available for all of us. This is a great opportunity to try out Banshee Prime for the first time, and take her into solo farming acolytes, or even killing Kuvalich and Sisters of Parvos. I will make a Mirage Prime video hopefully tomorrow, and I'll continue with the weapons of the 2 Prime Access available. Thank you so much for watching. Squad Leader signing off.